I'm glad to have some positive news to report on Games Workshop and Warhammer for once. Even if it's only, mild good news and not generally about Games Workshop. Shockingly enough, I didn't think that this would actually happen. There's been a massive balance update to 40k as a whole, and a lot of the older dexes, or at least a lot of the older armies, or even armies that don't have books out just yet, have been improved quite significantly. And my own homeboys, the Necrons, seem to have suffered the least, seem to have profited greatly from this balancing. And they've done something that they should have done to begin with. Now, is it perfect? Far from it. They need a total rework of reanimation protocols to make them competitive again, which would probably revert to them making it a save. So every time you roll armor, and as soon as they die, you just reanimate them right there and then, and don't do it after all attacks. But let's just forget that for the time being. So, what's this sort of game balance shenanigans about? Well, having gone through the article, because we're not actually going to, because it's mainly just a bunch of just wankery. Some of it's interesting, talking about flyer nerfs, all the rest of it. Yeah, it's some good shit. It stops a bunch of spam, stops them being a lot of armies from being broken as shit. Because, and I say this is going to be a positive video, not entirely. It's because Games Workshop can't manage to write rules at all. They can't do any good when it comes to writing damn near anything. Like, their lore shit and their rules are terrible as well, because they always end up getting more powerful. I mean, this is a fact that we've known for ages. We've just accepted, and we've memed it and called it codex creep, which is it shouldn't be a thing, but we let it happen because we're fools. Right, so I thought, just to go into this, since this is my army, this is the army I started 40k with, my Necrons. There are some updates to the Imperial Guard as well, which I also have. Not Astra Militarum, you can go fuck yourself. The Imperial Guard, which I also have, which I quite like. However, right now, just going to focus on Necrons. I'll talk about the Imperial Guard changes in just a second. So let's take a look at this. Necrons, add the core keyword to the keyword section of the following datasheets. Canoptek Ankenthrites. They're the flying melta beam bastards. Canoptek Reanimators, still never going to take that because it's terrible. Canoptek Race, that's huge. And we'll go through that why in just a second. Flayed Ones, also huge. Well, maybe less so for Flayed Ones. Now I'm thinking about it a bit more. It's still big, but not as big. Locust Destroyers, Locust Heavy Destroyers, Ophidian Destroyers, Scorpec Destroyers, and Triarch Praetorians. Every single destroyer in this that now has the core keyword, that is massive. It entirely changes the way we can actually play the codex now a bit. Thank fuck, I have to say. So, why is this so massive? Right then, so I've decided to quickly go through some of these rules. That will have a massive impact on how the Necron Codex is currently played. I mean, since the book came out, one of the biggest criticisms, aside from the what was it called? Reanimation protocols rules, which I still think are not great. I could tell they weren't great just for the sheer fact that I knew that they were going to be outdated soon, and we were going to have to pay a premium in our points cost for a rule that's not that great. So regardless, yes, the two rules that are given to overlords and the dynasty-specific overlords are Relentless March, which is an aura, and dynasty core units within 6 inches of this model. Whenever you make a normal move or advance to the end of the phase, add 1 to the move characteristics of models in that unit. So with Scorpex, for example, Scorpex are going to be massively buffed from this. You need to get them into combat as soon as possible. Say you want to go second, your enemy moves up a bit, all of a sudden, especially if you take the dynasty that makes everything objective secured, you take your Scorpex and they can move. I will double check the specifics for their movement character. Long day. Yes, characteristics. There we go. They have a movement of 8. They have a movement of 8. So they have a movement of 9 when it comes to this. 10 if you were to advance them. So yeah, no, that's pretty massive. Yes, so that's if you advance them, that's a minimum of 10, which is nuts on the table, the new table sizes. And probably the bigger one of the two, my will be done. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dynasty Core unit within 9 inches of this model. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. You can only select be selected for 1 ability this per phase. Now that's pretty big. That's absolutely huge. All of a sudden you're hitting on 2s. You're hitting on 2s, and the negative you get from your big meaty cleaver boy no longer really matters anymore. Now I consider this massive. Oh wait, no, there isn't a minus. Oh, I thought there was a weapon that you got -1 from. Oh, that's all good then. Yeah, but regardless, you don't get the -1. Oh, you hit on 2s. You have a weapon skill of effectively 2+ with this. That's massive. You have, especially when we go into a couple of the other core stuff that surrounding this. So all of a sudden you have a strength 5, or if you're using a Reap Blade, it's going to be strength 7. Hitting on 2s with 3 attacks each. Nice. That's a lot of damage coming in at you with a 9-inch movement because you're right next to the people who do this. I'd actually probably say you'd chuck a Lord on a barge for that. You'd chuck a Lord on a barge so they can keep up, and go on command barge so they can keep up. They can. What would be the term here? They can stay alongside them real easy with their movement. And they're not such in combat either. And they're protected with... Look out, sir. Because they're 9 wounds and not 10. That's massive. That creates a fast Necron army now. I'm really thinking about it. You've got a very fast army with that one. Oh, shit. I meant to be on that one. Sorry. Sorry about that one. Yes, so... That's for just the Scorpex there. With the heavy destroyers, you would all of a sudden have a 2+ to hit with a lot of your weapons. Big changes. Absolutely massive change. I don't think it can be understated how big of a change that is for our boys in green. You have your Rites of Reanimation, which is the biggest change for all of these. Well, almost all of them. Everyone except the Reanimator. Because the Reanimator's still trash. I wouldn't take it even if it was 10 points. It's just useless. So, anyway. Rites of Reanimation. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dynasty Core unit within 6 inches of this model. One destroyed model from that unit is reanimated. If the selected unit is Necron Warriors, doesn't matter for that. So, you could just for free bring back I believe it's a 4 wound model. Or is it 3? It might be 3 actually. Yeah, 3. So you can just, for nothing, you slap the Canoptic Cloak on him, and he can keep up, the Technomancer, and he can keep up with the Scorpex. Canoptic Cloak gives him the fly keyword and 10-inch movement, so yeah, he can keep up with them. And so he's always in range to just slap another Scorpex down. That's pretty fucking massive. In addition, you take your Chronomancer with you, so he can almost keep up. He's moving 8, but you can just advance him. It doesn't matter because his weapon is trash. His ballistic skill's 3+. It's just pointless even attempting it. So yeah, you just run them up with them, and you can just chuck on a 5+ invul as well. So you can basically once per turn get back a Scorpec. You can give them a 5+ invul. You can near enough anything you want to do, you can now do with those Scorpecs. Now they have the core keyword. It's very obvious the way they tried to do core keyword that they were intended to be. It was intended to be more than what it currently is. You know, that's massive. That's huge. Huge buff. Huge. Yes, so that's all well and good. That's a nice meaty buff. I'm a fan of meaty buffs. We move on to the Lord, who, yes, he has Lord's Will. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dynasty core unit within 9 inches of this model. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Not that useful for Scorpecs, I will admit, since they already reroll 1s. However, for Locusts, or the regular destroyers as we like to call them, because let's be honest here, they are just regular destroyers. Bleh. As soon as I find the fucking things. It's hardwired for destruction. Yeah, no, all of them are going to get it. Well, that's useful for Triarchs, though. All of a sudden, just reroll 1s. It's just anything that in this book that affects core. So let's actually go up to... Yeah, so the roll 1's a massive one. Adaptive strategy. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dynasty core unit within 9 inches of this model. Till the end of the turn, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. That's going to be a bit trickier to pull off, since the Royal Warden can only move 6 inches, and this is only 9. Not impossible. Not impossible at all. It's just more unlikely. I don't think you're going to manage to get that one off, sadly. But I don't think we can really complain, can we? We can still complain that a lot of the stuff is meh, but it's good. Let's go on to the more specific ones, shall we? You have Neversor Zandrek, who is cool. I do like Zandrek. Where is this one? He has My Will Be Done, Relentless March, standard for Overlords. Transcendent Madness. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Sautek core unit within 9 inches of this model and roll 3d6. If the total is less than this model's leadership characteristic, you can do one of the following results and apply that to the unit. So it's a d3 roll and you get certain buffs. Now, one of these is useless for Scorpecs. It's just completely pointless. And that one is the Quell the Rebellion, improved ballistic skill by 1. Pretty terrible. Pretty awful. Don't know why you'd want... You can't not have that, so I suppose. But regardless, the first and the third are the ones you really want. Is you have Avenge the Fallen. The start of the next command phase, add one to the attacks characteristics of models in that unit, so you bump yourself up to 4 attacks. Nice. And a cheeky wee Solar Mills Charge. Until the start of your next command phase, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit. So you are able to just reroll charge rolls for a unit of Scorpecs. Say you take a unit of 6 or 9, however many max you can fit in. You're gonna do some impressive damage. You're gonna do some impressive damage. You have good old Illuminator Seraz. You got mechanical augmentation. At the end of your movement phase, select one friendly core unit, Necron's core unit, within 6 inches of this model. D3 table again, because they like D3s. You can't just choose it, because fuck you. Let's see. Yes, here it is. Until the end of this battle, add one to the strength characteristic. Massive. Add one to the toughness characteristic. massive. Until the end of the battle, improve the ballistic skill. Meh. No, it's pointless for your Scorpex. For your heavy destroyers and destroyers, not bad. For your Triac Praetorians, actually not that bad either. That's probably the most useful on Praetorians, because all of a sudden, all of those are really good for them, because they have decent weapons, decent powerful weapons. It might also be useful for Ancathrites as well, but I've never used them, so all of them would actually be useful for spider wraiths as well. Canoptic wraiths. You can just equip them with a decent little weapon and go to town on them. Next one you have is Anrakir. Anrakir, I don't know. These names are bad. Anyway, you have Anrakir the Traveler, Lord of the Ferian Legions, or Pyrrhian Legions, technically. I always say, I don't know what it is, but I always say instead of Pyrrhic, I always say Phatic, even though there's not an H. Just something I've always said. Don't know why. Regardless, Lord of the Pyrrhian Legions. While a friendly Necron's core unit is within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to the attack's characteristic in models to the attack's characteristics of models in that unit. There we go. Managed to get out eventually. But yes, that is nice. That is very nice indeed. You can just pile on attacks from that onto your massive unit of Scorpex. Master Chronomancer. So we're going to Okran the Diviner. He doesn't really have much, sadly, but he has a Cryptek, so you know, there we go. Yeah, that's about it for that. Yeah, that's just why this entire update is massive for a lot of units. And we haven't even gone into how this affects the wraiths. Wraiths are viable again, looks like. All of a sudden, you're looking at hitting on, what, 3s again? Using your various buffs. Massive! Ridiculous. You can bring one back as well, and I think they're 3 wounds as well. If not 4, but I'm pretty sure they're 3. Yeah, just laughing a lot of the time. Or our little units. Like, they're nuts. Very good indeed. Ophidians I've never really used. Never really get to see them used. Fucking hell. Sorry. Yeah, no, it just... They just seem meh by comparison, I think. You know, yeah, he's raised 4 plus 3 wounds as well, so 4 plus invul as well, so you don't even need the thing with that. Yes, and the core as well. Like, this is nuts. This is actually really, 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 really good. This is a really massive buff, and it's done exactly what I wanted really from the start with a lot of this, is to either give them core or remove the core restriction from your right to reanimation. Especially for good old fuckface McGiddycuddy over here. What the hell's his name then? God damn it. Where are you, you weird freaky bastard? Oh, the Scupper Coat. I should take a quick look at this. Yeah, no, that's fine. There we go, Illuminatus Seras. What's I looking up here? He can only move 8, so I suppose that's kind of a downside. Yeah, he uses rights to animation 1 additional time per turn. Like, this is... It's just nuts. So adding a little bit in post, because I'm a fool and just didn't mention this at all for some misbegotten, godforsaken reason. But I'll splice it in so there's not much lost. Mechanical Augmentation. End of your movement phase, select 1 friendly Necron's core unit within 6 inches of this model. You roll a d3, and you get 3 results, like with... What's his name? I think he's just on the page. No, he is somewhere else. Oh, he's on the same page. I'm an idiot. like Transcendent Madness. Except this lasts until the end of the battle. The first result is you get an additional strength. Second is additional toughness to the entire unit. And the third is a ballistic skill to the entire unit. Now, that is real fucking good now that we have a lot of units that have a lot of new units that have core. All of this is useful with our wraiths. Our wraiths just love this. Because every single buff in that works for them. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Okay, I will now run away after splicing this in. Fuck my life. I haven't actually played 40k in over a year, I think now. Yeah, about that. So we're looking just... Yeah, like, it's... I haven't even played it on TTS at all. It's that bad for me. I've just been caring less and less. Sadly, it's got to be said. You know, I want to make this video just as a part of a bit more positive spin, I suppose. I mainly do negative stuff because Games Workshop's a shitty company and they deserve every bit of critique they can get. And the 40k community just seems to be... Well, the entire community surrounding Games Workshop just seems to be just cuckolded into loving them all to death, or not criticizing them at least. And especially not criticizing them harshly enough. And for God's sake, look what they did to Arch Warhammer, for Christ's sake. And people just stabbed him in the back and just left him to fucking bleed out. Chapter Master Valorak. And people would speak of him in hushed tones like he's some kind of ancient demon that you whisper his true name and he's gonna kill you or some shit. No, he's a bit of an arsehole. That's about it. That's about all that man is. He's a bit of a bastard. That's about it. And I like people who are a bit of a bastard. Sometimes. But regardless, it's just the entire thing is disgusting, and everyone who... one thing I can't stand is traitors. Everyone who's fucking betrayed that man deserves to be put up on a fucking rack. But I said to get to the Astra Militarum as well. So, massive change to the Leman Russ. It now has a 2+ armor save. Which is a 2+ invul, but apparently this is meant to balance the game. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That wouldn't be broken in the slightest, I'm sure. So yes, regardless. 2+ armor save with Leman Russes. That's quite big, yeah. Because they're usually 3+. You'd think bring it down to a 2+ isn't that bad. No, it wouldn't be that massive. It's actually quite big, considering how many wounds they have. It's very nice indeed, actually. Then you have... oh god, the coof. Then you have, when using tank orders ability of a regiment tank commander model, you can select one friendly regiment vehicle unit, excluding Titanic units, within 6 inches of that tank commander model instead of selecting a Leman Russ unit. So you can just select any vehicle unit that you want as long as it isn't Titanic. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice, I think, because I think our Sentinels still having to use his unit and move his units. Interesting little thing there, isn't it? 3 las cannons just firing off with reroll hits or the like. Each time a regiment unit with the voice of command ability issues one of the following orders to an infantry unit. That same order can be issued to one or more other friendly regiment infantry units, excluding officer units that are within 6 inches of the fucking hell. This is awful. That are within 6 inches of the unit that order was originally issued to. Take aim, first rank fire, second rank fire, bring it down, forwards for the Emperor, get back in the fight, and fix bayonets. So, as this reads to me, you order a unit to do first rank fire, second rank fire, And if there are any other units within 6 inches of that unit, so you could totally cheese and just string them out. Well, you can't do that anymore, can you? Well, you can still string them out, just nowhere near as badly. Yeah, regardless. You can... Yeah, you can just do that, and... Yeah, you're laughing. You're looking at a... You're looking at one unit probably in the center of a formation getting an order, and then probably you relatively easily get a good 4 units, I reckon, to have an ability of a 1 order. That's very nice indeed. That's a very nice little buff. Nowhere near as big as a Lehman Russ getting my big shooty tank getting a 2+ save though. They're as tough as fucking Bane Blades now with their armor. That makes no sense. Anyway. Yeah, thanks for sticking with this little ramble for this long. If you have, I just wanted to get to publish something that's positive, more positive than just negative, because this is actually a good direction. Oh, before I go, this is what I wanted to get to. Yes, this is a good direction, 100%, and they're going to release it every quarter, right? I will say this now. Within 2 years, maybe 3, they're going to try and put this in a White Dwarf or in chapter approved. This is not going to stay free. A little bit of a black pill at the end of this, because might as well. This can't stay. I cannot see for the life of me this staying free, because this is the kind of company Games Workshop is, and it's a good change. I like the fact that they've done this. Anyone who thinks this is as a result of that survey that went out is deluding themselves. They had this in the work for ages, because everything they put in the work for ages, or why they haven't responded to the bullshit surrounding animators yet. I don't think they ever will, to be honest. But yes, I am entirely sure I am that jaded with Games Workshop shit that they are going to make this a paid update like the points costs in chapter approved within 2-3 years. If I'm wrong, I'll gladly be wrong. It would be a better gaming experience if I were wrong. I want to be wrong. But let's be honest. Would you really put anything past Games Workshop at this point? Would you really put anything past them? I sure as fuck wouldn't. Right, with that, I've got some editing work ahead of me. Thank you very much for staying this long. I'll see you next time. See yous.